Today we're giving you a real and honest review on the Hatching Time Brooder. I'm Danielle and this is
Chris.
And welcome to Split Arrow Farm. And if you watched some of our other videos, we actually talked about the unboxing of this brooder, and we've also talked about the quail cages, which we absolutely love. So we're going to start off today, talk about some of the key features that this brooder has, why we purchased it, and why it might be beneficial. And then we're going to go into some of the pros and cons and things that we've realized since having it, and why we've actually decided to not use it anymore. But let's start off with some of the key features.
So some of the key features here are obviously the automatic watering system, the automatic feeding system, and then the heating process that you can control the temperature within the unit so you can regulate the chicks as they decrease in requirement for a hotter weather.
What's really nice about this is it is made out of a really thick plastic. It is easy to put together. It only took us around 45 minutes to put this unit together. And when you are cleaning it, you can actually take this and hose it down. It has a removable manure trayer, so you can separate out any of that, and you're able to easily clean up any of the droppings from quails. And if you know quails, they're pretty dirty. What's also pretty cool is they actually help you with the growing life stages of the animals that you're putting in here. So this brooder is great for bantam chicks, pheasants, quail, and any other small type poultry bird type item. They come with a smaller feeder system, and then they can upgrade into the bigger system. You're able to have a smaller watering system. As they get bigger, you can start to use the automatic watering system, and you can adjust it for the height of the chick or bird that you're brooding. When we purchased this, it was just $220 plus taxes and shipping, but I'm not sure what the prices will be when you actually purchase this. So think about that when you are purchasing this. You can really only do one type of chick in this at one time. I don't think there's any way to really divide it. So if you were trying to brood multiple different types of chickens, you would need to buy one for each one. Now, we were able to actually go ahead and brood our first set of chicks. We also did quail in here, and we ran into a few issues, which has really made us decide that we don't want to use this in the future, and we think that there's a lot of improvements that the company could be making to make this a better experience for any of their end users. So let's break into what some of those are now. From the start of when we purchased this, one con that we came up against was that there were some parts that broke in the assembly or actually came broken. Now, I did reach out to customer service. I was able to send pictures of the items, and they did reship everything free of cost. So a con, but they were able to really clean that up and help out. But Chris noticed a bunch of different cons in the system that made it a little bit harder to brood in this, and really makes us choose our own brooding system over this.
So one thing is the actual front face of the brooder for a very small chick. They can easily get in and out, and when you're trying to regulate the temperature, you don't want the chickens to be getting out of that warm area and going into like the feeding dish. It was also hard to make it so that they didn't actually escape the product going through the, honestly, I think it was through the feeder, but ending up on the kitchen floor, and then you hearing the chirps. So that was one feature that didn't work very well. So if you do have this and you're running into issues like we had with the chickens getting out of the feeding container, you can use the later feeder rack as a way to prevent them by putting it in and then zip tying right here. So now you're making it so that the chicks can't get out, but they're still eating. That's when they're still eating from their inside feeder. So just a quick tip, solve that issue.
Another thing about this that made it difficult was everything was in Celsius. We live in the US, and this product's actually created in the US from a company that is in the US, and we thought it was strange that nothing was in Fahrenheit. Now, you could just go in and create the math differences, but I found that we put it at the exact difference in what it should be in Fahrenheit and Celsius. It was getting really, really hot. Some of our chicks were just heat exhausted. So we really had to adapt to that temperature, and we couldn't really accurately see it, as well as when we use our Inkbird detector to be able to see if it is too hot or too cold.
One thing we noticed was the limitation to the size of the chick that can actually fit in here. The regular chicks, other than bantams, that we had in here grew up very quickly and outgrew it even quicker. So they're actually about touching the heater height. So the quail were pretty much, this is ideal for sure. But we would want to use it for multiple types if you're going to be spending 200 plus.
Yeah, the compatibility with all of the animals that we raise here at our farm just wasn't worth it to us. I think if you're doing this with children, this might be really good because maybe you're only doing 3 or 4 chicks, but it was really hard to fit them comfortably in here and know that they had enough space to roam around and not get burned.
Yeah. Another item related to the heater is the heater and the light bulb are both connected. So if you have the heater on, the light bulb is on. So essentially making the light bulb useless to us, at least, because we want to be able to regulate their daylight and nighttime schedule. So if you wanted to turn off the light, then you have to go into the unit and unscrew the bulb, or you're going to turn off the heat. So we opted to just have it dark all the time and use the daylight as our regulator.
Some other issues that we had with the functionality was the water container is a little bit wobbly, so if you bumped into this on a table, it would be hit and had the probability of falling off or having the water knock out. Another item that was really difficult is there is a removable manure tray, but it is attached to the bottom of this piece. So when you have the chicks in here, you really can't be cleaning out the manure tray unless you're lifting this entire thing up with birds in it, and then where do you put them because there's still poop on the bottom of the tray. That was the worst aspect of me because we did have these inside and all I wanted to do was clean the bottom manure tray.
Yeah, you're picking it up, you're shaking the animals around. It's not fun for them either, so a less intrusive way of being able to clean it would be optimal.
Something else that I really liked about this is that there is a clear door, which makes it really great for children to look in, kind of see what's happening within the brooder. But the door is really hard to open, so when they are little and you're needing to put the food and water inside or make any cleanups, it is really hard to end up opening this system, and it makes it almost unusable for any type of child and just makes it really hard to use. I also felt like some of the functionality within the system, so the watering system can actually go up and down, but once it's set up, it's really hard to move these tubes. You kind of set them up, so I don't think it's something you can change once it's already been set up. And those are kind of the frustrations that we've really dealt through.
Yeah.
And I think inevitably the reason why we're going to be moving away from using this brooder and looking to maybe give it away to someone else, someone with children, and be able to just use our homemade system. And Chris actually made it. There's some great functionality there, and we're going to be doing a video next time on actually the buy versus build and what the differences are between them and why we think it's essential that you build your own brooder so that you can truly customize it to your homestead, your farm, or your backyard flock.
Well, see you next time.
Bye.